Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and today Exodus Garden 2A is the Legend Lost Sector. Today is July 19th. Remember, these last for 24 hours and then they rotate. We're going to be against Fallen on this one. Barrier are going to be Servitors. Overload are going to be Captains, and we also have basically two other Servitors that have Void Shields. The burn is Void, so we'll have Void covered either way, but as you have Void already, we can take advantage of that. Scorched Earth, when you kill Shanks, I think you get a little explosion to those. And other than that, it's pretty straightforward. This is one of the more farmable ones. Remember, I don't tend to use exotics in these loadouts because I don't want to depend on them for you guys, but there are a lot of options here for this one. You don't have to worry about any shields besides Void, so you may as well take Void with you. So you can use a Void hand cannon. You can use a Void auto rifle. You can use a Void scout rifle. You really have quite a few options here is the point. I'm going to use a Void hand cannon and an auto rifle. My advice, though, is to use a scout rifle for some of this, like the boss and stuff, so you got a bit more range. And if you have it, I would suggest a Void rocket launcher with tracking. Main reason is the boss is a big floating servitor up in the sky, and it's just a little hard to get kind of close because the burn is Void, so be careful about that one. Tracking rocket is going to be really your best option, and I'll cover a couple exotic options, but remember, just not using exotics or a super, so you guys can use what you want. You may as well use a Void super as well, though, because, you know, Void burn is on. Modifiers, obviously, your anti-barrier. Check that box. Overload, check that box however you want to. Whatever your heavy is, make sure it's Void. I'll cover the exotic options, but again, rocket launcher is probably optimal here. Ammo finder, reserves, and scavenger. Always match those to your heavy. I say that every time just in case you're new, though. I want to cover it. Whatever your armor is, too. It takes 1 energy to throw resistance on. Void damage from the boss is going to hurt, so if your armor is Void, throw energy on, or throw Void resistance on there. Arc, it's also Fallen Lost Sector. Arc's not a bad one. Solar is the one you'll probably get the least benefit out of, but some of the solar enemies hurt, so whatever your energy is, throw resistance on there. Never really hurts anything. Other than that, if you are using a grenade launcher, I wouldn't advise it, but if you are, use Breach and Clear. But if you're using something like a rocket launcher and you're going to stun champions, you may as well go Sundering Blast and have fun with whatever you want. So, whatever your loadout is, try and build for it with the mods. Legend, usually not that difficult. Remember, I am working on scheduling a whole bunch of Legend, or Master Lost Sectors, I should say, to start coming out while I'm on vacation, probably a little before as well. So you guys will see a full slew of Master videos coming out from me as I head towards vacation and stuff at the early part of August. But for now, let's jump in with this basic standard loadout and show you guys how it works. Alright, so when you jump in, you're going to have a few Shanks here to deal with. You're also going to be dealing with our Barrier Servitor, so you can kill him pretty quick once you break the shield. Use your finisher. You may as well have a good time with that one. And then you'll have one more Shank. Once this wall comes down, you're going to have quite a few Fallen to deal with. I'm like buried in a dumpster right now. That sounds weird. Safest place to find, usually, or to fight, usually up in here. If you got anything fun, like my grenade's going to explode and kill lots of them just due to the chain reaction. But you can usually come up here, start unloading on these guys, and just use this little funnel, because they all tend to walk into it, to kill them. Now, off to my right, I'm going to have the champion. See if you got any other stragglers out here. Should be good to go. And if for some reason any of the Shanks, okay, if they're not shielded, you can shoot them. Otherwise, now we got to focus on the servitor. Biggest thing, make sure your barrier weapon is kind of reloaded and ready. And usually the easiest way to get the enemy to pop the shield is once, and then be ready for it to pop its shield. Break the shield, and then you can probably burn it down. Try not to blow yourself up, since that guy just wants to really get on top of my head. Normally the Shanks stay right over there with the servitor, but if they do flank around like that, I mean, hey, watch out, be careful. Take a second on this side of the dumpster to make sure your overload weapon is ready. Make sure your grenade launcher is reloaded, or your heavy weapon, whatever it is. A sword would work for some of the champions in here, just as the boss is floating in the air, the sword is not going to work. So while it may help and you can plink away at the boss with anything else, you're not going to be doing much work with a sword on the boss. So you're going to have a lot of adds down the way. If you can catch him in the tunnel, or you can catch him wherever, obviously you can nuke him fairly quickly. 1310, we're really not that difficult as I'm sitting at 1330, but 1310 is really not too bad. Watch out for the Wretch. It will be pushing up on you a little bit, but other than that, just slowly work with your cover, mow down some of the adds. Be careful of the Vandals up there. Careful of the Wretch. And just, again, use your cover where you've got it, slowly work forward. Try and stay in cover. And just work forward cautiously is the key. Now, that Vandal up top is going to be a bit annoying, so you are going to want to take him out. Remember, strafe while you're taking him out. There we go. As you push forward, you're going to get some Exploder Shanks to pop, so mosey forward and you get some things to open up. Those guys will spawn over there. You can get them to chain explosion together. And then if you want, I've got an explosive grenade. That's just chain explosions because I'm a Titan, but again, have fun, throw a burning grenade, throw something you want to throw, have a little fun. Next thing, we're going to have our next Overload Captain. 1, 2, 3. Stun him. Not a good time to have to reload. So my advice, switch back to your hand cannon and keep the damage going. Biggest thing about Overload Captains is you want to keep the damage on them while you can. And that's the key. Overloads are weird. You have to kind of either damage them with your overload weapon, or if you do switch off, like if I had to reload, I don't have enough time to fire, so as soon as I reload, switch over, and start tagging them again, hopefully the recharge of the health doesn't happen. It's a little unreliable to say the least, but it is one of those things that can be managed if you just kind of, if you're a little patient with it, it is definitely doable. Wow, that was a whiff and a half right there. Hi. Okay. So now more things will have definitely spawned as I kind of woke the beast. Let all this stuff come back to you. You're going to have a lot of ads. You might farm some ammo. Watch the Wretch. They're definitely aggressive. You're going to have some ads that spawn up top. So be careful if you think up there is safe. It won't be for a little while. Some guys will just absolutely spawn on top of you. Looks like they're throwing some heavy at me. Now, you can be up here, but you're likely not to be alone. And that's the solar guy that's actually going to hurt. That Resilient Dreg will actually kind of ruin your day. Just because his solo shots hit pretty hard, to be completely honest. You're going to have some buddies up there, but you're also potentially going to have some shielded buddies. So my advice is really try and find an angle to focus on the barrier champion. Also, watch for these guys. Apparently, he is not done with me. And if you really got to retreat, just pull back here. You got some safe spots. Just be cautious. I'm getting a little aggressive because this one goes fairly smooth, but you don't have to be this aggressive. You can play a little cautious. But once you get comfortable in this one, you really can farm this Lost Sector pretty fast. Like, I've done this thing in about 3 or 4 minutes, generally, as long as I don't get completely ruined by, like, barrier servitors and stuff of that nature. Now the barrier servitor, what you want to do, make sure your barrier weapon is refilled. Hide over here if you can find him. Hit him once, or maybe twice. Be ready to go for the shield when he pops it. And then you can literally finish him off. Done. And hi, how you doing? Find the last couple guys. Now you'll be... There they are. I was like, I know there's going to be some dudes. The Exploder Shanks are floating around somewhere, so always be aware. Ah, and you can always like you to the fadeaway jumper if you need to. There are quite a few that come out. Apparently, if you get far enough out there into the world, they will come get you. That's got to be most of everything at this point. There is a servitor, a normal one back here. Take him out. Once you break the shield, just keep firing. Finish him when you can. Alright, so once everything is dead, boss will appear. You can reload. And what you're going to want to do... Now, you got a couple servitors that'll be floating around. You can break a shield if you want to. You may not be able to kill the servitor, but, you know, you can put a little work in. This is where I would advise the scout rifle. It's going to be a lot easier, but I'm just going to show you guys how to do it without a scout rifle, because, well, you know, I apparently like making things difficult on myself. As you push up, just be aware the boss is void and will definitely hurt. You're trying to pull all the straggler ads like from around the room to you. Not always going to be doable, but you can. You can get a few shots into one of those guys, put a chunk of health on them. It's one less void thing coming at you if you can put some damage in on those servitors. The mini ones. The boss, you'll know when you find it. Just be cautious, because when the boss does start unloading, you need to be aware of where it's at. Now, if I can arc these grenades, I can probably do a good chunk of damage. It's like, almost dead. Not quite, but almost. If you get a rocket launcher, it dies in about 2 rockets. And that's the boss, and you could literally run to the center, open the chest, and you're good to go. So it's really not that bad. That's why a couple rockets, you can farm this thing really fast if you're doing well for positioning and life. Void does hurt, so just be cautious. Watch being too aggressive. Same thing, got one more. And again, you can really just run to the center, open it up, see if you get anything good. I got a one-eyed mask. When you open the chest, this little door opens. You're going to be greeted by a lot of guys. And that's how you can do it. That was, what, 8 minutes? That was really slow. So again, tracking rocket, great for the boss and the champions. Void rocket is the key. Tracking is just good because the servitor can float and just dodge your rocket if it's not tracking. It doesn't move that fast, but a tracking rocket is only going to help. But let's get back to the surface, and we'll wrap this thing up. And that pretty much wraps this one up. So Exodus Garden is very, very farmable with good loadouts. Things like hard light can be good. If you got a scout rifle and, you know, a decent hand cannon, it's going to go even faster. Pretty much anything you can use to make this quicker, but honestly, the tracking rocket launcher is going to be a godsend. Other things that you guys can use, I know I didn't touch them before, when it comes to exotics. Truth, fantastic in here. Two-tailed fox also hits pretty damn hard because you'll have the void and the solar rocket, which are going to do extremely well. And other than those two, you also have Deathbringer. That thing, if you can get it above the boss, will probably annihilate it pretty fast and probably clear out that entire, like, second to last room that you've got. So you definitely have some exotic options if you own them. Any exotic over here that's going to help your Void subclass be even better, use that as well. So you've got many options. This is a non-exotic, non-super run. You guys can hopefully make this thing faster. It's easily farmable in under about 5 minutes, if not quicker, depending on how much you put your optimal loadout together. But if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like below. Leave a comment if you've got questions, loadouts, or anything that you guys like using. Share that with everybody. It's always nice to see. If you guys do enjoy my content, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Always appreciate the support. So please hit that subscribe button and the alert bell. Helps, you know, my content make it to you. And then other than that, you guys can also find me over on Twitter and then streaming on Twitch. I think I'm going to start my Mass Effect 2 journey today, so feel free to catch me, twitch.tv/Ebontis, and I think Mass Effect 2 is what we'll be playing a lot of this week in between the time of Destiny. Thank you guys, have a good one, and good luck.